Manchester United 2, Crystal Palace 1, and we've come away with the 3 points. It was a decent performance. Before we get into all that, let's talk about the starting lineup. So you had Lemens starting net, a back four of Dalot, Euro, Maguire, and Shaw, a midfield two of Mainu and Casemiro, a front three of Mbumo, Bruno Fernandes, Cunha, and then Sesko up front. So in terms of my lineup, the lineup that I went for in my preview, it was basically the same lineup that I went for. So there are no changes in that. In terms of Sesko, I think this was his first game starting under Michael Carrick, if I'm not mistaken. I'm not quite sure, but he's not been starting previous games. You had Ahmad starting ahead of Sesko, and then you had Mbumo starting up front. But this match, Michael Carrick decided to reward Sesko for his good form and start him up front. So in terms of the first half, I think it was a little bit of a poor start to the first, to the match. Crystal Palace take the lead 1-0 in the fourth minute. After shaking off Euro midway through the box, Lacroix meets Johnson's corner kick with an excellent guided header. It clips the left-hand post on its way into the net. And I think Lenny Euro is at fault here. He takes his eye off the ball. He loses the flight of the ball as well. And then Lacroix gets away from Lenny Euro. Lenny Euro isn't tight enough. He kind of gets away from him completely. And then it's a free header basically for Lacroix. And then he heads it in to make it 1-0. So it was a poor start to the game for Manchester United. Unfortunately, Crystal Palace taking such an early lead. It could have been a difficult afternoon. But then in the 10th minute, Ismail Assar has a shot that is saved. Sarr linking up with Munoz on the right before taking the ball into the area and lining up a shot. He hits it hard, but it's straight at Lemens, who parries the ball away to relative safety. Then play is halted in around the 23rd or 24th minute. Luke Shaw stayed down on the turf after seeking treatment. So he came off worse from a 50-50 tackle with Munoz shortly before. And then United made a change, unfortunately, for Luke Shaw. So Luke Shaw does go off in the 24th minute. United make a substitution in the 24th minute. Luke Shaw goes off and then Mazraoui comes on. I was disappointed to see Luke Shaw go off as he's having a good season in my opinion, and he started every league game so far, and he's played 90 minutes in most games as well. So he's pulling up the numbers in terms of turning up, in terms of putting in shifts and stuff, and he's done really well in terms of he started every league game in the league so far. He's had a good season in my opinion, so I was a little bit disappointed to see Luke Shaw go off. Hopefully he doesn't miss the Newcastle game midweek. Hopefully it's just a minor injury. Hopefully he's not out for too long. But Mazraoui came on, and I thought that Mazraoui done well for the majority of the match. He was decent, playing at left back. So yeah, and then in the 30th minute, Maguire has a header from a corner which is saved. It's cleared by Sarr. And Mbumo forces a corner kick on the right, which the Cameroon international then takes himself. Always a threat from set pieces. Maguire meets it with a firm 10-yard header, but Sarr clears it away from the 6-yard box. So United were looking a little bit dangerous a couple of times in the first half, and then in the 38th minute, Henderson has to make a save as well. Henderson dives across to his right, keeping out a fairly tame header by Sesko. The big striker meets a deft cross from Bruno Fernandes, but he couldn't generate enough power on his attempt. Then in the 41st minute, Bruno Fernandes has a free kick which is saved. Bruno Fernandes lines up a free kick from around 22 yards out. He then curls it over the defensive wall and towards the top right corner. On his toes, Palace keeper Henderson leaps up to tip it over the top. And so a decent free kick by Bruno Fernandes. It probably was going over the top, but Henderson makes a save. Then in the 43rd minute, shortly afterwards, Casemiro has a header where he misses. Casemiro spurns yet another chance created by Bruno Fernandes. United's captain sends a free kick towards the back post where Casemiro arrives late but nods narrowly wide of the target. So United are getting a couple of opportunities after going 1-0 down in the first half, but unfortunately unfortunately, we weren't able to capitalize on any of them opportunities in the first half. In terms of the first half, United had 57% possession compared to Palace's 43, but with that we had 6 shots, 3 on target, 0.34 xg, and Palace had 4 shots, 2 on target with a 0.19 xg. So I think we were a little bit unlucky to be going into halftime 1-0 down. I think that we probably deserve to be going into halftime at least a level, in my opinion. But in terms of the second half, though, we speak a little bit about the second half. We have we get off to a second half with a decent start. A penalty kick is awarded for us. Opening goal scorer Lacroix is beaten by a sharp turn by Cunha, who is poised to strike at goal when the Palace defender drags him down. Then, adding insult to injury for Crystal Palace, Lacroix is judged to have denied Cunha a clear goal scoring opportunity and sees red and is sent off. So Cunha is then sent off. Lacroix is sent off in the 57th minute, and I think it was a kind of it was a red card. It was a clear goal scoring opportunity. He he pulls Cunha back, and Cunha could have kind of got a shot away, got to the ball. I think Dean Henderson was coming to kind of close down the angle. However, I think that Cunha would have made it in time to the ball and kind of got a shot off and possibly scored. So, in my opinion, I think it was a red card. It was a clear goal scoring opportunity, and Lacroix deservedly is sent off in the 57th minute. And then having inevitably played the pass that led to United's penalty, Bruno Fernandes steps up to convert. He slots his spot kick past Henderson into the bottom right corner, and Bruno Fernandes puts the penalty away to make it 1-1. And then in the 65th minute, a couple minutes later, Sesko makes it 2-1. Bruno Fernandes finds some space on the right wing. He swings in across towards the centre of the box, and Sesko is there to head home to make it 2-1. So a decent goal by Sesko, really good, well taken header, good cross by Bruno Fernandes to find Sesko in the box, and we are deservedly in the lead. We are kind of momentum is on our side, and I'm thinking we need to be getting a couple more goals. We need to be maybe winning this match 3-1, 4-1, because Crystal Palace are down to 10 men. We're at home as well, and we need to be kind of taking the game to Crystal Palace and kind of just scoring more goals, but unfortunately it wasn't to be. In the 74th minute, Casemiro does have a shot that is saved from close range. Got the Palace keeper Henderson reacts sharply to parry away a Casemiro goal-bound header from close range after the Brazilian slipped clear at the back post. Then United make a couple of substitutions. Sesko, the goal scorer, the match winner, goes off for Ahmad. Then in the 85th minute, Maguire and Mbeumo do go off for Heaven and Xerxes. Then in the 93rd minute of injury time, Amad Diallo takes the ball from Mainu in midfield, checks away from his marker, then drives a thunderous strike towards the left side of the net. Only a superb flying stop by Henderson prevents him from making it 3-1. So we could have made it 3-1 there in the 93rd minute, but Ahmad kind of the keeper Henderson saves that strike from Ahmad to kind of stop it from being 3-1, and then that was about it really. In terms of overall, I think it was a decent game. Again, a good finish by Sesko. He's coming up with winners here. He deserved 3 points in my opinion. I think that we deserve the victory, and I think Sesko's coming up clutch, scoring goals. He scored against Everton. He scored against Everton. The winner against Everton, of course, on Monday. And then obviously he scored that equaliser against West Ham to kind of keep us unbeaten in the league. When that 96th minute equaliser he scored, and he's coming up with really important goals, and he's on a really good scoring streak at the moment. So hopefully he can keep up this good form. He scored in his past he scored in his past 3 games now. Obviously, he scored today against Palace, scored against Everton as well, then scored against West Ham as well. So he's on a really good run of form right now. Hopefully that continues. I think he's scored 7 league goals so far this season. Let me just check. Sorry, he scored 8 league goals, provided 1 assist so far this season, and hopefully he kind of keeps up this goal scoring form. Hopefully he kind of gets he should be scoring maybe 10 to 15 league goals with the kind of remaining matches, and unfortunately he was struggling at the start of the season, but he's coming up trumps now. He's performing well, he's scoring important goals for us, and long may that good form continue. So yeah, let's get into the player ratings just now. So I'll pull them up for you just a minute, then we'll go through the player ratings before we take a look at the stats as well, and then we'll take a look at the league table as well. So let's take a look at the player ratings. Lemens has got a 6.7 here. He couldn't really have done anything about the goal that he conceded. It kind of was in the corner. It came off the post as well, so it was pretty much in the corner. I think Lenny Euro was at fault for the goal that we conceded. In terms of his accurate passes, 17 out of 24, 71%, 3 out of 10 accurate long balls as well. So really couldn't have done anything about the goal. 2 saves that he made throughout the match, but he was kept relatively quiet. Crystal Palace didn't really trouble him too much, in my opinion, so he was all right in terms of his performance. 5 recoveries he made there as well, so decent by Senna Lemens. Diego Dallo unfortunately picked up a yellow card. 66 out of 77 accurate passes with 86%. Duels he's won 4 out of 7, so he's done well in terms of his duels. And then Lenny Euro, unfortunately, he was at fault for the goal, in my opinion. Possibly could be doing better there. He lets Lacroix escape from him and loses the flight of the ball. So unfortunately, that was the goal was probably his fault. But it is what it is. 70 out of 75 accurate passes, 93%. Only 1 out of 7 duels won. So possibly could be doing better there in terms of his duels. Harry Maguire with a 7.4 here on FootMob. 61 out of 63 accurate passes with 97%. In terms of his duels, he's won 6 out of 7, so he's done well in terms of winning the majority of his duels. And then Luke Shaw only lasted 24 minutes. Unfortunately, he was taken off for injury. Hopefully he's not out for too long. 8 out of 11 accurate passes with 73%. 0 out of 1 ground duels won. So unfortunately he was taken off for injury. Hopefully he's not out for too long, and hopefully we see him against Newcastle midweek. And then Casemiro's got an 8.2 here. Had a decent performance again. You can see his heat map. He's covering large amounts of ground there. 76 out of 78 accurate passes with 78%. And then in terms of his duels, he's getting stuck in there. He's won 11 out of 13 duels. So a good performance by Casemiro in terms of his duels. And 9 recoveries there as well. 14 defensive actions. So he's performed well in the middle of the park, in my opinion. Good performance by Casemiro. And then Kobbie Mainoo, 63 out of 70 accurate passes with 90%. 6 out of 12 duels won, so possibly could be doing better with his duels. So he's only won 50% there, so possibly could be doing better there, in my opinion. Bryan Mbeumo, 20 out of 22 accurate passes, 91%. 3 chances created as well, 4 defensive contributions. I think that he was all right on the right wing. Only 3 out of 8 accurate passes with 38%. 6 corners that he took. So 5 out of 11 duels won. So possibly could be doing better with his duels. But can't really complain about his performance. I think that he could be producing a little bit more in the final third. Same can be said about Matheus Cunha as well. But before we get into Cunha, Bruno Fernandes, 1 goal, 1 assist, probably man of the match with a 9.2 rating here on FootMob. 49 out of 67 accurate passes with 73%. And then duels, he's won 4 out of 7 there. So he's done well in terms of his duels. Had a good performance, really well taken goal. Obviously, penalty, putting it away, showed composure to put the penalty away. Then Sesko as well, providing that assist for Sesko. Really good cross into the box from the right wing. Good performance by Bruno Fernandes, probably is man of the match. And then Matheus Cunha. I think that Cunha and Mbeumo could have been doing a little bit better, in my opinion, in terms of producing the goods in the final third. I think they were a little bit ineffective. 22 out of 25 accurate passes here for Cunha. 0 chances created, which isn't great. Not good enough in terms of chances created. But he did win the penalty, which was decent, getting away from Lacroix. Obviously, Lacroix then getting sent off. In terms of his duels, 7 out of 17 duels won, so possibly could be doing better there with his duels. And then finally, Benjamin Sesko. Like I said, he's on a really good run of form right now, scoring in his past 3 matches, coming up with really important goals. Equalizer against West Ham, like I mentioned, winner against Everton, and then scoring the winner today as well against Palace. So he's performing really well, in my opinion. 8 out of 10 accurate passes. In terms of his duels, he's won 6 out of 9. So done well in terms of his aerial duels. With 6 out of 7 there. Didn't win a single ground duel, unfortunately. So possibly could be doing better there. But yeah, good performance by Benjamin Sesko. I think Bruno Fernandes is probably man of the match, though. In terms of the substitutes, Mazraoui comes on and has a good performance again, in my opinion, as well. 42 out of 45 accurate passes with 93%. In terms of his passes into the final third, he's got 6 touches in the opposition box, 2, and then 4 out of 5 duels won, which is decent, but good performance by Mazraoui, in my opinion, filling in for Luke Shaw. And then Ahmad, who comes on, has a couple of creates 2 chances, has 2 shots on target as well, and then I think that Dean Henderson had to make a save for one of them in the 93rd minute. So yeah, good strikes by Ahmad, causing saves to be made by Dean Henderson. In terms of his duels, he's only won 1 out of 3, which isn't great. Possibly could be doing better there. And then Aiden Heaven coming on for 5 minutes, only 6 out of 6 accurate passes, 0 out of 1 duels won. And then finally Joshua Zirkzee as well. I think he had a couple of shots when he came on which were blocked. Unfortunately, I think Crystal Palace did well to kind of see the game out with 10 men. I think that, on another day, it could have been a much bigger scoreline for United. It could have been 3-1, it could have been 4-1. But yeah, because we did have a good couple of shots in the second half when Crystal Palace were down to 10 men. So unfortunately, Joshua Zirkzee's got these 2 shots that were blocked. And duels, he's won 1 out of 2. But yeah, in terms of the substitutes, they didn't really have too much of an impact when they came on. I think Mazraoui, though, did so. For filling in for Luke Shaw, I think Mazraoui had a decent cameo and decent kind of game when he came on. Ahmad had a good cameo when he came on as well, having them shots that were saved by Dean Henderson. And then Joshua Zirkzee had a couple of shots which were blocked in the box. So yeah, on another day, I think it could have been a higher scoreline. It could have been, like I said, 3 or 4-1. But yeah, I'm happy with the win, happy with the 3 points. In terms of the stats, let's take a look at the stats, then we'll take a look at the league table as well. So in terms of stats, 61% possession for United compared to Palace's 39%. 20 shots for United, which is decent. 11 shots on target. 3 big chances created, 1 big chance missed. And you can see Palace here with the only 8 shots they had 3 shots on target. So relatively kind of quiet game for Palace going forward. They didn't really kind of offer too much of a threat for United. If we have a look at Senna Lemons, I think he only made 2 saves. So, he was kept fairly quiet in terms of going forward. In terms of United, though, I think going forward, we definitely looked pretty well, especially in the second half when Palace were down to 10 men. 20 shots, 11 on target. Really good performance by United going forward. Expected goals as well. We're dominating accurate passes as well. We're dominating the stats. We won more duels in terms of duels won 56. I think that's overall duels, but ground duels won. Palace do beat us, and then aerial duels won. We do beat Palace as well. More successful dribbles than Palace as well. So overall, a good performance by United. And I think we are unbeaten in the league for quite a number of games now. I think our last loss was against Aston Villa away from home. So we're doing really well in the league. And if you have a look at the league table, we'll take a look at the league table right now. We have moved up to 3rd position, which is really good in my opinion. I think that if we can kind of cement ourselves in the top 4, I think that achieving Champions League qualification this season would be a success. I think that I think that Michael Carrick has come in and he's doing a really good job right now. He's on a really fine run of form. We've not lost under Michael Carrick so far when he's come in. So, I think we're playing well. We're picking up points. We're winning games. We're doing really, really well. And hopefully that form kind of continues. And hopefully we do kind of get Champions League football. I think that has to be our target. Of course, achieving Champions League qualification would be a really good really good end to the season after a kind of poor start to the season in terms of when Ruben Amorim was in charge, but Michael Carrick's taken over and he's doing a really, really, really good job in my opinion, and hopefully that does continue. If we do achieve Champions League qualification, I wouldn't be overly against Michael Carrick taking the job full time, but hopefully we do achieve Champions League qualification. But yeah, overall today, good performance, good 3 points, and a little bit unfortunate that we aren't coming away with a clean sheet with that Lacroix goal in the 4th minute. Lenny Yoro needs to be doing better, but overall can't really complain because we are coming away with another 3 points, another win under the bag, another step closer to Champions League football. Now we've got 10 games left, and hopefully we can kind of achieve Champions League. So I think that would be a good end to the season. In terms of next up, we do have Newcastle midweek away from home. So hopefully we can pick up all 3 points in that game as well. But yeah, anyway, if you enjoyed this review, leave a like, comment, and subscribe, and I'll catch you in the next one.